Hello, welcome back to the foundation course on communication and soft skills course number 2. Like in the earlier session, we did lay the focus on language, its importance and the main usage of language, that is the importance of its social purpose and how linguistic communication can take over the importance of speech, not just the written communication that plays a role today, but speech has its own importance as well. So just a little bit of recap before we actually move on to the core course for the day. So the earlier session we got introduced to the IPA chart, which is International Phonetic Alphabet. Like we already have learned, there are 44 sounds in English language. There are 24 which are consonant sounds and 20 as vowel sounds. So let's move further to understand and get introduced to the other set of the sounds where we are supposed to know and achieve the mastery on. So let's move to the slide and understand this. Okay, so this slide is the tool and the magic equipment to speak good English. Whomever you aspire, whomever you admire to be at the level of communication that they hold, now this is the magic tool for you all. Like we already have read the first block of vowel sounds. Now let's move on to understand the second block, that is the block just next to the block that we have gone through today. So now these set of sounds are called diphthongs. Now what are diphthongs? So diphthongs are combination of two vowel sounds which represent and gives out a single sound as part of the pronunciation. So moving on to understand this in detail, the first diphthong in the chart, in the presentation, the slide that we are talking about is ear sound. So there's a combination of short E with a schwa sound. So when I say a short E and a schwa, schwa like we already have discussed, now this inverted E is the schwa sound in English language. So you have to be very careful each time you see this sound. So when I say you see this sound, in case you're exploring the word in dictionary and the symbols that are next to the word, if you end up seeing this word, you're supposed to reduce the sound effect, you're supposed to make it unstressed, you're supposed to you're not supposed to elongate that sound. So this is your schwa sound. So the first diphthong that we are talking about is the ear sound. So words such as here, near, sheer has this sound. So you're not elongating it once again, you're giving it a very short subtle sound. Okay, moving on to the next set of diphthong, which is like a two sound giving out a meaning or conveying one single sound, is your ear sound. So when I say ear, I am again not elongating the sound, it's a short sound with a very focus that it is not stressed and it is not stretched in the pronunciation aspect. So the words that get attached to this are say, may, day and lay. So these are the examples that we can try and practice for this particular sound. So the next sound in the slide that we are talking about is your ua sound. So when I say again ua, I mean a short sound with a schwa sound. So a short sound with no elongation, no stress to it, a combined sound with a schwa sound. So ua sound with a focus on words such as pure, sure and similar words. So once again poor, sure. So words such as the word ending RE do not take the complete word as the pronunciation. So when I mean this, that it doesn't take the entire word to pronounce, I mean the letters are not completely taken into account when we pronounce this particular word. So English as a language, by now we should get a little idea and the understanding that it's a non-phonetic language. Let me make a note of this word. So I would really recommend you all to go ahead and understand more about this term. So when I say non-phonetic language, I mean the words and the letters do not make up for the pronunciation. So when I say they do not make up for the pronunciation, again I mean that the way I write in English is not the way I speak. Unlike any other regional languages, like we have already discussed, Telugu or Hindi, if I have to give you an example, a lot of Indian languages, the way I write is the way I pronounce. But for English, which is a non-phonetic language, likewise French, I do not pronounce the way I write it. So that's something I have to keep in mind before we actually move on to hold the mastery over the slide that we are discussing, which is the IPA chart. So moving on to understand the pronunciation of this word, S-U-R-E is not sure, it's not shuri, but it is sure, the oo sound, the oo sound. So there's a short oo sound with a schwa in it. So it's sure, it's poor, P-O-O-R, it's not poor, it's poor, it's sure. Okay, so it's oo with a short sound. The next row of sounds in the slide are a short sound of short E and a oo. So it's oi, oi. So examples, boy, toy. So these are related examples for these this particular diphthong. Once again, it's a short sound. We are not stretching the sound. We are not stressing on any part of the sound because it's not a long sound here. So I have to be focused that it's a short sound, it's oi. The next sound in the slide is schwa with a short oo. So when I say schwa with a short oo, I mean it's o. So it's so as an example. So it's a short sound with schwa, which is not stressed at all. The next set of diphthongs in the same slide, which is the last row that we are discussing right now, are your again set of diphthongs, which is ear, ear, so air, air, and then we have the next sound, which is or I, which is by, tie, die. Again a short sound. We are not elongating the sound at any moment because it's a short sound and you're not supposed to stress that sound. The next sound is your ow sound. So it's a short sound again, oo, and it's again a short sound attached to it, which is a. So it's ua, ua. So this brings to the end of the vowel sounds table. So let's do this, for the sake of practice, we will again make sure that we will just not, get the enunciation right. So I like to introduce you all to one more word now. So I do not mean pronunciation here, I mean enunciation. So when I say enunciation, I clearly define it as the sound, whereas pronunciation has to do with the word and enunciation has to do with only the way I get the sound correct. So each time I get this word, when I'm explaining you all, please make sure that you understand it, that it is to do with sound, but it has nothing to do with the word. So when I say pronunciation, I mean the entire word. By its eternity, but when I say enunciation, I just mean the sound out here. So let's get to understand the complete vowel sound table again, and let's get the mastery over the vowel sounds enunciation. So let's begin once again. It's to the slide and understand that the first sound is the E sound. It's E. Once again, I really would like to recommend you all to practice when you're watching this. So it's a E sound, and then we have shut sound, which is the next sound, I, O, U, E, A, O, E, A, O, Ia, E, Ua, Oi, U, I, Ow. So once again, for the sake of practice, it's E, I, U, U, E, A, Oi, E, A, O, Ia, I, Ua, Oi, U, I, Ow. So these vowel sounds help us to give emotion to your speech. It helps you to better express yourself and give the right pronunciation to the word. Like we have already discussed, every region in India has its own set of challenges when it comes to the sounds that are not correctly enunciated in English language. First being because these sounds do not exist in English language. The second most important fact to really accept is because of my environment, because I have not been really I have never understood the enunciation technique of certain sounds, hence I am not able to get it right. And also third being out of lack of practice. So when I have never been exposed to this sound, hence it's very difficult for me to get the sound up. So, and that's why I am not able to put that in the right pronunciation. So accepting these three facts and of course acknowledging the fact that with practice you can achieve greater mastery for sounds and the overall communication effectiveness. So I would really recommend you all to go ahead, learn these sounds and be up for to be a good speaker, to better your communication skills as such. So moving on to the second block of sounds on the same slide that we are at. So this particular block, when I say from P, so these set of sounds are called consonant sounds in English language. So when I say consonant sounds, let me make a note. So this is the word consonant sounds. So when I say consonant sounds, I mean the set of sounds which bring about logic, which bring about meaning to the conversation, are nothing but your consonant sounds in English language. Well, the good news about understanding these set of sounds is that most of these sounds, they exist in a first language. So when I say first language, our native language, it does exist, and hence it's very easy to pick up. In case there's a struggle with certain practice, we can certainly achieve the mastery on these set of sounds. So let's understand and move ahead. To talk about it, consonant sounds, there are 24 consonant sounds in English language, and under 24 consonant sounds we have two bifurcations. When I say two bifurcation, I mean certain sounds are voiced in consonants and certain sounds are voiceless. So when I say voiceless, I mean unvoiced, that is there's an element of vibration which is less and which is evident. So once again, consonant sounds, there are 24 consonant sounds in English language. They bring about logic and meaning to the expression and to the conversation. They are voiced sounds and they are voiceless or unvoiced sounds. So once, let me define you for the sake of definition the word voiced. So when I say the word voiced, I mean when you give out this particular sound, rather when you enunciate this sound, you sense a vibration on your throat. So each time when I say the sound p, I am not supposed to sense the vibration, but because that's what the rule of enunciation says for the letter p or the sound p. But when I say a sound b and I hold my hand on my throat, I sense a slight vibration in my throat. So each vibration corresponds to the sound called voiced sound, and no vibration corresponds to the sounds called voiceless or unvoiced sounds. So for a better definition and clarity, once again, voiced sounds where I sense the vibration, unvoiced or voiceless sounds where I do not sense the vibration. As easy it is. So let's move on to this block of this consonant sound slide, and let's get exposed to these sounds and practice independently. So the first sound, the letter P, has a sound called P. So it's a short, slight, no vibrating vibration to it. So hence it's P. The second sound is on the slide of consonant block. It's the B sound. So there's a vibration to it, and the vibration is subtle again. You don't really have to vibrate it evidently. So it's the second sound is the B sound, short B sound. And then the third sound over here on the slide is your T sound, a short T. And then we have D. Then we have Ch, followed with J, K, G, F, V. So the technique for F and V as sound is you're supposed to bite subtly your lower lip to get the sound correct. So don't make it very evident, but it is always recommended to get the sound enunciation right, because it's a bilabial sound. When I say bilabial, by meaning it conveys the information that your two set of lips are part of the enunciation technique to this, and you literally hold the air which is coming out of so you basically obstruct the air which is coming out of your mouth. So that's the biology part of getting the sound correct. So F and V, once again, you bite your lower lip very subtly to get this sound correct. So once again, the letter F with the F sound on the slide, and then we have letter V with the V sound on the slide. Then we have Th, which is a slight vibration, not a heavy vibration out there. So the word thank you, so one of the highly mispronounced word, because many of us we end up giving heavy vibration to it, hence the word goes this way, which is incorrect. It's not a thank you, but it's certainly thank you, because it takes the vibration less sound. So once again on the slide, after V, the symbol that you see, which is mostly a mathematical symbol, so this is a less vibrating sound, no vibration attached to it. Words such as thin, thank you, and think come in this category of the slight th sound. So after th on the slide, we are moving towards a sigma kind of expression, again a mathematical expression. So this is your dh sound, which has a vibration which is more on a heavier side, and hence it gives this vibrating sensation each time when you give out a dh sound, dh. So when I say dh, I mean I'm giving out words such as that, I give out words such as mother, I give out words such as father. So these are the words generally get attached to the strong dh sound which has a vibration. So again, going back to little explanation front, voiced sounds and unvoiced sounds, which is voiceless. Voiced has vibration and voiceless has no vibration. So this is the meaning of why we are extensively talking about voiced and unvoiced out here. So going back to the same slide of consonants sounds block. So we are moving towards the next set of sound, which is a s sound, has no vibration. So I cannot say z, I give out a different word. So mostly part of South India. So with due respect, even I come from South India. So we have something as a challenge where voiced sounds are replaced with voiceless sounds, and voiceless sounds are replaced with voiced sounds. So keeping in view that a s has no vibration to it, going back to the same slide, we are not supposed to give a vibration. The moment I vibrate the sound, or rather I give out a vibration, I am enunciating it incorrectly, and that will show up in my word pronunciation. Okay? Let's understand one fact, that the reason we are emphasizing these sounds extensively in detail is to get your pronunciation techniques effectively. So pronunciation for the entire word can only happen when I am exposed to these set of sounds and I know the right technique to get these sounds out. If I do not get the right technique for these sounds, my entire word can go for a incorrect pronunciation. So there are a lot of words where we end up saying water and we end up saying against, which are incorrect by every mean, because it's not following the rule of pronunciation guidelines, and it is not even following the rule of enunciation guidelines too. So it's very important for all of us that I go through these set of sounds, practice it, and then work on my pronunciation. And only then your pronunciation can be improvised and can be better, because your foundation has been taken into account. So moving to the slide, after s, we have a sound called z, as simple as example of zoo and zebra and any other word for that matter, zeal as example. So this has vibration, and to keep in mind, you're supposed to vibrate each time when you're giving out this sound. So it's z, so it's z. So all I have to do is hold my tongue within my mouth and do not allow the air to come out. That's how the technique of this sound is. So when I say z, so I am technically holding the air in the mouth, and I'm not allowing the air passage to happen free flowing, and hence the word z is a vibrating sound, and that's the technique that we end up following. So moving to the next sound after z is your integration symbol, which is again a mathematical symbol, is your sh sound. So when I say sh, I mean it is a less vibrating, or rather no vibrating sound. So keep that in mind next time when you're enunciating it. Enunciate it appropriately, that you're not supposed to give a vibration. So for people who missed out the technique that I gave you and the logic behind vibration or no vibration, hold your hand on your, place your hand on your throat and sense a slight vibration when you're giving out certain sounds. Like when you say a p, you release the puff of air, but there's no vibration in your throat. And when you say a bh, you're certainly releasing the air, but there's a vibration, a sense of vibration to your throat. So place your hand on your throat and sense vibration. So all vibrating sounds are your voiced sounds, and when there is no vibration, it is a voiceless sound. Moving to the chart, to the slide, the next sound, which is most important and that we all have to practice, owing to the fact that we come from the place that we are residing at. So if Telugu has been your first language, and if Telugu is your native language, I know for a fact, and I'm sure I've done my correct homework, we do not have a sound called zh in Telugu. So that's where the whole challenge comes in, just because it doesn't exist in my first language. Hence it is very difficult for me to enunciate the sounds that are this particular sound in English, because English has lot of words which has j in it. So words such as, let me make a note of it. Pleasure. So word pleasure. Measure. The second word is measure. Third word is casual. Like the slide gives us the example. Let's look at the slide. For this j sound, as an example which has been mentioned as vision. So let's also take the same example. So the sound that represents as part of the pronunciation for this is this symbol, which is j. Difficult to enunciate because it doesn't exist in my first language. Not impossible. Let us get this very correct. It is not impossible to get this sound after the practice. Of course, you can get it after repeated practice, and I will give you certain techniques to be there. So the right pronunciation for these set of words are pleasure, measure, casual, and visual. Once again, pleasure, measure, casual, vision, or visual as well can be considered as one of the examples. So to keep in mind, the word j is j but not a z. Just because z is closest in terms of enunciation, and also on the slide that we see, we end up giving z to these words. So it is incorrect when I say it as pleasure. It is incorrect when I say it as measure. It is incorrect when I say it as casual. It is certainly incorrect when I say it as vision, because I am giving a z sound to a j enunciation. So how do I enunciate? Because considering this is one of the most asked and practiced sound for everyone who comes from our place, that includes me as well. So the technique is I hold or obstruct the air inside my mouth, something like a honeybee sound. So it's zh. So once again, I repeat, the sound is I hold the air inside my mouth and I do not allow the air to come out. I'm abstracting the air, and the sound is zh. The sound is zh. The sound is zh. So when I say zh, the words are, example, pleasure, measure, casual, and vision. So these things is something you have to keep repeating, and out of practice you can certainly get it up. So moving to the next row on the slide. So we see a letter M, and from here let's move to understand. So the letter M has the enunciation as M. It's a nasal sound, so it's M. So you certainly have a tinge of nasal sound that comes in. It's M, it's N, it's ing, like your sing, ring, and king, which has a nasal effect to it. And we have a sound H, so there is no vibration. We have a sound L, we have a sound R, we have a sound W, and then we have letter J, but the sound is Ya. So looking at the slide, the letter J gives us the sound as Ya, because like we already have discussed, English is a non-phonetic language. the letters and the sounds do not correspond to give out the pronunciation, unlike our regional languages. So that's a classic example to define why English is a non-phonetic language, because letters and sounds differ and they are not accounted when it comes to pronunciation. So that's something you have to keep in mind. So once again, for the set of consonant sounds, I would really recommend you all to practice along with me, and then I'll give you certain techniques to practice and achieve mastery over it. So let's move on to this slide again. Like I already gave you recommendation, either you take a screen capture of this, or maybe you can just type the word IPA in Google. The moment you type it, I'm sure on the images tab, you'll end up seeing this screen that we're discussing right now, which is once again International Phonetic Alphabet, where all your 44 sounds are inscribed, and most of the charts, they give out information which is along with the examples. So it is recommended that you go through this IPA chart which has examples in it, and that can certainly help you to practice by yourself and work towards effectiveness on your communication style. So once again, moving to the chart in the slide, the consonant sounds, the set of consonant sounds, 24 consonant sounds. P is the first sound. Second sound on the slide is your B in the same block, and then we have T, we have D, we have Ch, J, K, G, F, V, Th, D, S, Z, Sh, J, M, N, N, H, L, R, W, Y. For the sake of practice, once again, I would recommend practice along with me, looking at the same slide that we are at. Consonant sounds P, B, T, D, Ch, J, K, G, F, V, Th, D, S, Z, Sh, J, M, N, N, H, L, R, W, and Y. So keeping in view these set of sounds can certainly assist us not just getting the logic and meaning to our communication, but conveying what we want to convey in a clear and better manner. So consonant sounds 24, out of which few stand under voiced and few come in the category of voiceless. So maybe in the next session extensively I will talk about the voiced sounds and the voiceless sounds. Today the agenda for us, that is for you and me, is to get introduced to this IPA chart and understand the very reason why it is important, and in order to achieve the overall communication ability, conversational ability, and to master over it, we have to start from the foundation level, which is the IPA chart. So we have covered vowel sounds, we have covered consonant sounds. So let me give you a little brief information about how are we categorizing it, and how are we actually coming up to understand why vowel sounds and consonant sounds are important. So let's move to the slide to understand this better. Okay, the communication tree, looking at this slide. So spoken and written, when we look at these words, communication can happen either through written form, that is either I write an email or either I write a letter and get this information out, or either it can happen through speech, that is through spoken language. So when I say spoken language, I mean I have sounds, and then sounds leads to words, and then words leads to sentences, and sentences gives us the language. With the help of language, I communicate and I converse. So this is to do with my speech or spoken language. Looking at the written language on the same slide, I mean letters. So I need to have letters to write words. So after words, a group of words make sensible meaning, which is your sentence, and sentences lead towards language. Language leads and make communication, and communication makes a conversation. So letters again have two categories, which is your vowel letters and your consonant letters. Speech as well is broken into two set of sounds, which is your consonant sounds and your vowel sounds. Moving to the next slide to better understand this. Like this slide was important agenda that we have covered today. Language, and then language is broken down to sentences. Sentences are further broken down to group of words. Group of words are again broken to letters. When I say letters, I mean written communication. When I say sounds, I mean spoken communication. So both letters and sounds have consonants and vowel letters and vowel sounds, consonant sounds and consonant letters. The next slide, in terms of awareness, it's very imperative that I understand there are 26 letters in English language, an alphabet, and there are 44 sounds in English language. There are 21 consonant letters and there are 5 vowel letters. Likewise, under sounds we have 24 consonant sounds and 20 vowel sounds. So all this gives us the information that it is important for us to not just get introduced to the sounds and letters, but also work, practice towards it to be a good communicator. So next slide, before we actually conclude and summarize towards understanding foundation course on communication, is sound production. Now this is important too, not to just understand the biology part of how a sound is created or how a sound is enunciated in the 44 sounds chart that we have just gone ahead to understand. So understanding the fact there are different mouth organs that are involved in order to produce a sound. This is for every language for that matter, not just English. So let's begin. All these mouth organs, they help us to produce a particular or a specific sound, and these mouth organs have a specific name in language community. It is called articulators. Let me make a note of this word on the board. So next time when you hear the word articulated properly, you have not articulated the information, you have not articulated the conversation well, by that it means that there was some concern, a challenge with the way you have given out words, the way you have given out the information. So articulators are your mouth organs. So this is a specific term used for mouth organ. So keeping in mind the different mouth organs to produce a sound, hence there are different articulators to produce a sound. So moving to the same slide back, let's focus and understand what different articulators are there and why it is important for me to understand this little in detail. So the first articulator to begin with, sequentially, are your two set of lips, which is your upper lip and your lower lip. So a lot of sounds in English language are bilabial. So when I say bilabial, I mean there are the set of lips are helped in terms of producing this particular specific sound. So sounds such as m, p, b are all bilabial sound. That is, I use the set of lips to enunciate or get this sound. Going to the same slide, let's get introduced to the other mouth organ, which is also helpful to produce certain sounds, which are your sounds with nasal tinge to it, such as again m, n, ing. All these sounds have nasal tinge to the enunciation. Moving further to understand, we have two set of teeth, that is the upper set and the lower set. Then we have the little protruding portion behind the first set of teeth. So when you touch the tip of your tongue towards the first set of the teeth, you see a little protruded upward portion called alveolar ridge. There are a lot of sounds which are produced with the help of alveolar ridge, and it is very important that I learn the technique for two reasons. Otherwise, I give out an incorrect sound, and also the meaning of the sound can totally be incorrect if I do not use the right technique. So then we have something a soft palate and a hard palate. So when I take my tip of the tongue and I touch the inside portion, the upper portion of my mouth, where I sense it little soft, it is the soft palate. When I take the same tip of the tongue and I touch the upper part of my mouth, I sense little not on a softer side, but it is little hard when I touch the tip of the tongue. So this is your hard palate. And moving towards tongue, tongue is almost part of every sound production, I would say. So tongue plays a very important role. So people who cannot speak, or people have the speech impairment, they certainly have challenges with tongue which is not functional and tongue which is not being used completely. Moving further, we have lower set of teeth as well, which is again helpful to produce a specific sound in English language. So it is very important that I understand the set of sounds which are helpful. And then we have larynx, which is again functional and which is very functional towards producing the sound. So this is to do with your articulators in English language. So let's move ahead and understand this, that articulators play a very important role. They just not play an important role for the functioning of getting the sound correct, but also for your overall speech. So let's summarize the session for today. So we have understood the articulators just now, and different articulators which are part of sound production. We have also got introduced to the IPA chart. We have practiced all the 44 sounds of English language. Maybe in the next following up session, I would really recommend if you can go ahead, understand, practice and come back, because the following course will be again aligned with the course that we have just completed for the day. So thank you for watching, and appreciate your patience. Thank you.